चट्ट बसेर त्यो तन्दुरी पिज्जा खानको रमाइलै अर्कै छ कि भाइ त्यो आज कुन दिन हो यार
Tuesday.
हाम्रो पडकास्ट म्यान
Hello, listeners. You're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I am Satyal.
And I am Silwal and we're a podcast from the Himalayas.
The whole idea of this podcast is to bring in perspectives from different walks of life to basically start a conversation.
We have amazing news that we are now a weekly podcast.
Woo-hoo! That means you can catch us live every Tuesdays at 7:30 either on YouTube or on SoundCloud.
Satya, what do we have for today?
For the fifth Tuesday, we'll be talking about the quarter life crisis. That pathetic phase in life when you're in your 20s and everything seems so damn confusing. You feel lost, you have no clue where your life is headed, you're frustrated, and basically you're trying to figure a way out.
One of the questions that we got from your status that you put in a few days ago was why in your 20s? The answer is mathematics. You divide your life, 20 quarter of your life, it starts around 17 years of age because our average life expectancy is around 70. So it starts with 17, it goes on towards, your mid-30s based on how long you live. But in our part of the world, our quarter life crisis starts around 24, 25 after we graduate because we've been dependent on our parents and we've been living with them that we don't actually think about it until we're, graduating.
So we're actually postponing our quarter life crisis by 7 years.
Yes. And you might try to inference, why our country is not developing this well.
Okay, that's for another episode. But you talked about the quarter life crisis, but what exactly is a quarter life crisis?
So this quarter life crisis is when you're, transitioning into early adulthood. You're not a kid anymore, and now you're supposed to act like an adult. And this new era that you are entering into, that's filled with anxiety, your inner turmoil, you're uncertain about life, and I think everyone resonates when I say I don't have a clue with what I want to do with my life.
I certainly can.
Yes, so that's what a quarter life crisis begins or starts or is.
I think a part of that is because now you're suddenly out of college, you don't have a report card hanging over your head every 3 months. So life in itself is not telling you whether you're in the right direction or you're in the wrong direction. किनभने स्कुलमा भए बेलामा पो पिटेर हुन्छ गाली गरेर हुन्छ यो यसमा राम्रो पढ यसमा इम्प्रुभ गर भनेर भन्थ्यो, right?
Plus you're also not close with your friends anymore. Now they're into their different parts of life and you're not close to them every day, you don't meet them. Trust me, all those 18, 19-year-olds who say that I'm going to be friends with my friends for a really long time. After your graduation, everyone's moving towards their own
it's not that you won't be friends with them, but you'll move your separate paths, right? म पनि 4-5 जनाको ग्रुपमा हिँड्थेँ, but look at me now, I'm just like stuck with Silwal here right now. So you're on your own basically, right? And life becomes all about trials and errors, like Silwal says. I really like this line of his, mostly errors. So त्यसले गर्दाखेरि के हुन्छ नि, now it all comes down to the choices you make. एउटा मैले एकदम राम्रो कोट पढेको थिएँ, you're free to make a choice, but you are not free from the consequences of your choice, and that is what scares us, right? We're at this stage where we're thinking about the past and we're overestimating the past, about how wonderful it was. We're thinking about a very bleak future and about how we underestimate the future, but we're not thinking about the present at all.
And this is the situation where we don't fit in. We feel like we are not fitting in at all. We are not fitting in with what the society demands from us, what we want from us, and what the future has in store for us.
And you know why this happens? This is because the grass always looks green on the other side. I look at your social media, I look at your Instagram, it looks so fabulous.
Don't look at mine, look at someone who has, 300, 400, 1,000 likes.
I just like kidding, man, but whoever we look at, their Instagram, their Facebook, everything about them seems so nice, better than ours, and that is where comparison starts creeping in, and that is how we plunge ourselves into the crisis.
But the social media that we're accustomed to these days is just the highlight reel of our life.
Exactly. It's the best part of your life. You will not show your struggles, your share of failures, right? You just talk about things that are interesting and exciting, and that is the trap that we fall into.
We look at people who are going abroad or traveling or doing that. Oh man, they're traveling, they're following their passion, and it scares us because we feel like we're not doing anything. Pragya Manandar on your Facebook, she said she feels stuck, feels what next, feels what option should I go for, feels what should I plan for abroad. And this is what I think most of us who are fresh graduates are looking into. Do we follow the herd or do we start our own passion? And there are so many people who don't know what they want to do in life, and they look at someone else who's already doing it, and we get even more discouraged by the life that is ahead of us.
Because we've been looking on the outside for too long. Have we been asking ourselves, what is it that we want? We are meaning-seeking creatures. We cannot really live a life based on what someone else thinks. It's more about what we want, and it's more about what we want and the meaning that we want to get out of it.
Yeah, we're called the purpose generation. We need to find purpose in our life. It is not just us, a me generation, but we need to find that purpose. And this is the quarter life crisis where we don't know what our purpose is.
So how do you do that? For that, I think you need to feel it, and you need to realize at first that you are actually going through a quarter life crisis.
Satyal, I've told you this before as well. It's not about asking questions, but asking the right questions to yourself. And the introspection part that you talked about, we need to ask ourselves the right questions of what we really want, what our true values are, what our true, feelings are, and I think that's how we navigate through our quarter life crisis.
Exactly. Now, once you realize what you want, the fear of missing out, that now turns into the joy of missing out, which means, good for him, lad, good for you, do what you want, but मलाई चाहिँ यस्तो चाहिने हो र म यस्तो गर्छु, right? So for that, you need to feel it and you need to let out your emotions. How do you do that? One of our listeners, Nishesh Devkota, a poet who we don't know if he's related to the great Lakshmi Prasad Devkota.
I'm pretty sure he has Devkota in him because he wrote a very wonderful poem. I'm just going to read you one stanza of it, but we'll probably share the poem through our page. So go check that out. Please give him all the love and support because he had the courage to come out and share his poem to everyone.
Exactly. And he wanted to help you guys go through the quarter life crisis. So that is his poem. Let's go, Silwal. How is it like?
It's called Letting It All Out by Nishesh Devkota. The chaos that my life has become these days, I need the good life that I've always dreamt. I couldn't find anyone to tell my problems all to. Hereby I'm letting it all out to you.
Woohoo! Nice one, Nishesh. Nice one. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Listeners, go check it out. Go check the full poem on our Facebook page.
We told you we're that friend who you can talk to, and this feels amazing when someone shares something very personal to them and that we can share it to everyone else.
Yes, so thank you so much for that, Nishesh. We're really glad to be those two friends who could listen to you and be there for you when you are feeling low. It is not just you feeling the quarter life crisis, it's us, it's Silwal, it's me, and it's all the listeners, so you're not alone.
Everyone lives through this phase.
Exactly. So that was Nishesh, and that was his way of dealing with it, right? Now our Vasudeva, who you are already accustomed to, the guy with the great designs, Animax, for some reason, he tends to avoid thinking much. He tries to keep himself busy. He does not want to tackle this issue firsthand. What do you think about that, Silwal? Is that the right approach? I'm sure it has worked for him, but will it work for you?
I don't think it works necessarily for everyone because, as you've already put it, everyone has their own life to live and their ways of dealing it. For me, I would not try to ignore it because the more I ignore it, the more bigger the crisis becomes later on. Yes, botlop हुँदै जान्छ, and then you need an outlet, and Nisheshले जस्तै मैले त एउटा नोभलै लेख्नुपर्ने सिचुएसन हुन सक्छ हैन. So for me, I would rather have the issue at hand, look through it, try to go as deep as possible, try to find all the answers, and then make that step forward.
Yeah, I'm like, because we talk a lot about Tuesdays with Murray as well. Murrayले भने पनि अनुसार, you feel an emotion fully and then you detach from it. You just let it go, right? That is something that I have gone through as well. So that is a strategy that I'm working with. I want to bring our conversation with Mr. Narottam Aryal, the executive director of King's College. We had the privilege to go to a talk show where he was talking, and Silwal and I...
It was called Last Thursdays
with an entrepreneur. Yeah. So we talked to Mr. Aryal, and he talked about how life is all about optimism. Somebody asked him, how do you keep up that great optimism? He said, either you live or you die. Those are two extremes. So when you're living, you might as well live with a lot of enthusiasm, and life is all
about... With a lot of positivity.
With a lot of positivity, right? So thank you, Mr. Aryal, for those encouraging words, and we really follow that.
I think this helps Krityutma as well, because she said, I used to feel or still feel the same where I cannot make decisions. The decisions that I'm about to take might lead me to nowhere. Unless you do it, you will never know where it leads you.
Exactly. Unless you make a decision, you don't know where you're going, and the more you postpone your decision, the more farther away you are from making a meaningful life.
Each day you postpone on your dreams, you're one day late to the dream that you could have, right? So I want to bring in the procrastination that lives in us, that that we don't think about of our dreams and our desires and our passions and our goals. कलेजमा हुन्जेलसम्म deadline huncha, there's this TED video called
Inside the Mind of a
Procrastinator, and I'm stealing some of it from there. He talks about how there are deadlines for some kind of procrastination, but the procrastination of our dreams, where we have limited time on our life, and we talk about that in the previous episode about death being certain, right?
And how we're overlooking death.
Yeah, how we're overlooking that. We need to do something meaningful, and we need to start following up on our dreams and our passion. And it's okay if you don't have your dreams figured out, because we also don't know about what we want at the end of our life. That's all about trying to figure yourself out, asking the right questions, and just moving forward.
And I think one thing that I want to bring in here is balance is also important, right? One of my very good friends, Sonam Sherpa, he's written all the way from England. He talked about his dream of wanting to be a full-time pro athlete, but because life happened and he ended up doing science, a major in science. So now what he's doing is he's keeping a balance between his day job and the training to become a pro athlete, right? So a lot of times you need balance as well. You cannot suddenly switch to a completely new thing. So it's all about balance, but having said that, it's about making decisions. And until and unless you make a decision, you're not going anywhere.
Aaron Trasher says that, we're all at this crossroad of our lives. There are a lot of paths that we can possibly take to higher education. There's master programs, abroad studies. You can start your own business. And he says, everything that's ahead of him looks lucrative, but he does not really know what to do with it. And he's done a bit of experimentation, and I want to bring in that experimentation towards you people. We need to explore as much as we can. This is our time to explore as much as we can, because we never know what our real passion lies until we go out there and search for it.
Yes, exactly. Now for that, you need to start making decisions. You need to start exploring. And if you can only be good at something once you explore and do something worthy of a feedback, right? So the first step towards solving this quarter life crisis is to explore more. So if you wanted to do few things, start doing them. That is the first thing. But how do you know what you want to do? For that, you need to do more of a soul searching.
Yeah, that's right? What Subeksha Ada said. To do so, she's doing a lot of soul searching, trying to find out what motivates her, what moves her, what gives her the reason to get out of bed every morning. And we need to find that in ourselves and do a bit of soul searching as well.
While you do your soul searching, now a lot of times what we do is we don't ask ourselves, we start comparing, and then we start complaining. फलानोले त यस्तो गर्यो, ढिस्कानोले यस्तो गर्यो, सिलवाल त यस्तो राम्रो बोल्छ, म त सिलवाल जतिको राम्रो बोल्न सक्दिन. That's not the truth.
म भन्दा राम्रो बोल्छ.
So, after my graduation, I got this very lucrative job, very highly competitive salary. A lot of people thought I was doing really well, but deep down only knew that I wanted to do something else and that job wasn't meant for me. So wherever I used to go, people used to praise me, tell me that you're doing really well. So instead of comparing ourselves with what other people have, because we always seek that the grass is greener on the other side, we should start introspecting and do away with complaining and comparing completely. And start asking ourselves, what is it that we really want? Now, at this moment of time, Silwal talked about finding our own path and how friends drift apart, right? But one important thing is you need to find believers. Silwal, what is that?
Finding believers are someone who believes in your dreams and your passions. Someone who's going to be like, okay, you tell them what you want to do and they encourage you. They send you the positivity. For example, let's say you want to go abroad, right? But you're not taking that step of going abroad. That one friend is going to constantly ask you, when are you doing this? When are you doing this? When are you doing this? And that keeps you going as well, because you're finding people who believe in your dreams, and that helps you to start something. Not just going abroad, it could be just about anything.
It could be about starting a podcast. I wanted to do it. If Silwal wasn't there to encourage me, if Silwal had told me, I would have not still not doing that, right? But what Silwal told me was, let's do this, man. We always wanted to do this. Worst case, so nobody will listen to us. We'll become better speakers, but we, in a way, feel that we're impacting lives, and that's what finding believers is all about. Yeah. And Nisha, she talked about how she's finding it hard to find like-minded people.
Yes.
And afimati doubt bhaira. So Nisha, you don't need to doubt yourself. You just need to know what your strengths are, and what your weaknesses are, and how a complementing partner can come along.
Yeah, because partner for a disclaimer alert, and we've been doing this disclaimer. We're both straight. We love all people, anyways. And that aside, sometimes when I'm not energized, Satyal comes up and picks me up, and he re-energizes me. The idea that you need to find those people who will re-energize you when you're feeling a bit low. That's finding believers.
Exactly. Now, it's not just us giving you feedback. We had a very wonderful person in Kashyap Shakya, who was our teacher at ACE. He wrote to us because he's someone who has crossed that phase in life.
Yeah.
He's passed the quarter life crisis, and he had some wonderful suggestions written to us. It even made around 12 to 13 comments on my Facebook. Kashyap sir, we know you're listening to us right now.
And he's someone who's already passed through this stage, and he has some insights for all our listeners. The first thing that he talks about is being patient with our life. We want to get so many things done so quickly, and we're waiting for that next thing to happen really quickly.
And this is something that Sumiran Raj Satyal has also written to us. He talks about how everything is completely natural, this feeling, and that it's our illusion and our need for instant gratification. A person who's just in their 20s can look at this and say, I'm still young, I can do so much. And someone who's in their 60s can feel that I'm still clueless because I'm this old and I don't have life figured out. So he talks about it being all about perspective.
Yeah, and the next thing that he talks about is work a bit after your undergraduate. Give yourself time to explore. A few months, a few years could be wasted, but that's the buffer for the rest of your life. Explore everything you think you are interested in. Once you do that, then you'll know what you're actually interested in.
He also talks about failures and how failure taught him more lessons than success ever has. Many a times I've realized that what not to do is more important than what to do, he says, and you can know about what not to do only when you can experience failure.
He also talks about reading a lot of books, and because that helps you gain a lot of perspectives and a lot of stories, and that might be useful in your life. The other thing that he talked about was self-introspection. Once in a while, you need to stay in your room, think about yourself and nothing else, just yourself. Gives you more answers than asking the gurus of gurus sometimes.
I like how he put it.
Yes.
And I think that is something that we can resonate with. I do a lot of self-introspection, and I know that you do that as well. So Silwal, on a personal level, what are you doing to tackle the quarter life crisis?
Everything that we talked about, I'm slowly doing those things because quarter life crisis cannot be Googled. It's ungoogleable.
I like how you said
cannot
that.
find those answers. So that's all the things that we've talked about. That's helping me navigate through my quarter life crisis right now. What about you?
For me, I'm taking each day as it comes, and I know that I want to live a life that is true to me. And the fact that the future is so uncertain, that is what makes life exciting. So I'm embracing that uncertainty.
Yeah, just laugh at the quarter life crisis. This is something that we all go through, and let's just enjoy this as much as we can. There's gonna be good days, there's gonna be bad days. We just have to navigate ourselves.
And if there's any day that you feel lonely, you know who to talk to. Satyal and Silwal will always be there for you. So with that, we come to the end of the 5th Tuesday of 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. We realized that a lot of people were affected by the quarter life crisis, and that is why we wanted to address the issues. If you have any relevant materials that you think will help other people navigate through this course of life, write to us and share with us. Silwal and I will be back again next week, Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. If you liked our episode so far, like, share, and subscribe with your friends. And one last thing, it's never too late to start.